Hey guys, it's Misty Eyez, and I'm here with Queens of the Week. And that means it's Saturday. Okay, so it was Saturday, but I'm a little late. I'm like a day late and $1 short. I was in Chicago for the week helping my friend and sister compete for Miss Continental. And my record day is usually Wednesdays after work, and I was not in town, and my normal schedule was completely discombobulated. And I'm back on schedule today, working, and I'm performing on Saturday, which is my second longest day of the week. On Saturdays, I work 3 shows. Basically from 4 p.m. until 4 a.m. So I very, very rarely record after Saturday nights because I'm usually exhausted. But I'm always sober because we don't drink at Lips. So, not while waiting tables. Usually you can have a shift drink when you're done, but what's one shift drink gonna do? Anyways, so by the time I'm recording, it's technically Sunday morning, and hopefully I can edit and post before the Sunday Sisters get theirs up. Here's hoping that I can get this up before the Sunday Sisters, because I really do want to talk about this topic. This topic is about trannies! Tranny. Yeah, I said it. The word tranny. It's true. We're talking actually specifically about RuPaul's Drag Race and the word shemale. Since the beginning of the season 1, RuPaul had a spin on Tyra Mail from America's Next Top Model. Tyra Mail, where they get messages. And she's like, well, I want to call it something else, Mail. So she called it shemale. I love this, actually, and it's my text message. So if I get a text message from a drag queen, it goes, you've got shemale. From RuPaul. I truly do like this. Now, I know it has caused a huge scandal within the transgender community. And the word transphobic has been used quite a bit. Now, what I don't understand is, why is the transgender community attacking itself? Yes, I realize technically RuPaul is not transgendered. Technically RuPaul is not a transsexual. Technically RuPaul is not trans. But she is still a part of our community. We are all technically born men and we dress as women. Maybe she's not full-time, but she still does it. And we are all fighting for the same thing. We are all fighting for equal rights to express yourself in whatever way you want to. Why in the hell is the trans community fighting against RuPaul when there's actually transphobic people out there that want to beat the shit out of trannies? Why aren't you attacking them? Now, the thing about shemale, we did another tranny topic about a month ago for Queens of the Week, and I expressed my theories. And on part of the topic, I lightly talked on the fact that I think a lot of the transgender community don't want to be exposed at all. They want to be swept under the rug. Like, they want to stop anything ever to bring attention to the fact that there is such a thing as transgendered people. I think that's very wrong. For example, let's talk about gay rights. Would we have gay rights today like we do? Would the president be pro-gay rights and win being on the election ballot as pro-gay rights publicly if gays never stood up for who they were? Like, imagine if back in the day, in the Stonewall era, if gays were like, oh, you're right, let's pretend gays don't exist. Let's pretend that we're not gay. Let's deny that we're gay, and let's just try to blend into society and be normal. Hashtag normal. That is not a good word. Who wants to be normal? Look at fucking Lady Gaga. Everyone looks up to her because she's not normal. In fact, she's the opposite of normal. She even claims to be bisexual, and sometimes she pretends to be transgendered herself. But my point is, why is the transgender community so set on trying to extinguish anything that brings attention to them? Again, I lightly talked on the topic. There was a TV show about cross-dressers, not even trans people, just cross-dressers, and the trans community was freaking out. Let's get rid of it. We don't want people to know that we exist. Yeah, I understand that existing in public is a very difficult thing for trans people. I understand that. I truly do. I am very, very, very sensitive to transgendered issues. I have many, many, many friends and coworkers and loved ones that I have personally helped and I've injected hormone shots into people. I truly do understand the transgendered mindset and the community and the issues that it goes through. I understand the ugly phase that you have to go to work and you're confused whether you should put on eyeliner or not because you're going to bring attention to yourself and you feel like an ugly duckling. I understand that. But if the transgender community were to stand behind the word tranny, and I'm going to read a quote from a girl that's doing a documentary on the trans community, I think it's called The Woman Within. And she commented on my transgendered video a month ago, and she wrote this amazing quote that made sense to me because I was like, why don't trannies like this? Why doesn't the trans community support it? And I'll read that to you in a moment. But I agree with her. If the transgendered community stood behind it, and like the gay community, for example, gay was a very bad word. Very, very, very taboo. Oh my God, he's gay. Oh my God, don't say that. He might be gay. I think he's gay. But the gay community stood behind it. He's like, you know what? Fuck that shit. I'm gay. And they were proud of the fact that they were homosexual. They were proud of the fact that they were gay. And they started putting gay pride stickers on their cars. And they started to say, look, I don't give a fuck what you think. I am gay. And I am proud. And that started the gay pride movement. Look at the black community. And I'm just picking that one because it's a very public thing that we've all been aware of. Whether I'm not black, people think I'm black, but I'm not black. But I'm still aware of the situations. I can't truly, like the trans community, I can truly understand the mindset. I can't truly understand the mindset of the black community. As you might not, I don't know if you're black or not, whoever's watching this video. But you probably are aware of what has happened with the black community. Now, I remember in my lifetime, I might be a little bit older than some of you, but I remember in my lifetime, there was a period where we weren't allowed to call black people black. It was very taboo. The black community was like, oh, no, don't call us black. Then it was African American. Then it was colored. And then it was like, oh, no, wait, colored's even worse than black because then that's calling us, well, what color am I? Color's what you call slaves, and like this is the colored bathroom, and that's the what. So then what do you call them? They're not going anywhere. They're not going to disappear. They exist, and we need to embrace them and welcome them into our society and a part of our lives. But in embracing our differences and our uniqueness, we still have to embrace our diversity. They're not exactly like us. How are they different? And then the black community started to embrace, guess what? I'm black and I'm proud. And then the black pride movement started to go, and they're like, you know what? We are black. And they took that word back. Now, the N word, I still don't like. I hate that word. I don't like it when Nicki Minaj says it. I don't like it when rappers say it. I don't like that word at all. Now, I understand they're taking the bite back. They're taking the power away from the white person or whatever, because if they call it, it's not going to hurt their feelings. I understand that, but I don't like it. I'm a boss-ass bitch. And then she goes on and says it like 500 times. I don't like that word. I don't use that word. I don't like it when other people use that word. I don't like it when black people call each other that word. But then there's the word faggot. When I was younger, that word really hurt my feelings. Oh my God, are you a fag? Are you a faggot? Oh my God, that's a fucking faggot. But then the gay community started to use that word so much that it was kind of like, oh, I don't know, I just hear it, like it doesn't bother me. So maybe the N word is like the F word, faggot, for them. I don't know. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about trans. Now, I think, like this quote I'm going to read you, I really do think that the transgender community needs to step back and be proud of who they are. And I know that's not going to happen, and I'm, at least for a while, and I'm really frustrated because most trans people are so set on being the thing that would have killed the gay community. They want to be invisible. They want to blend in. They don't want anyone to know that they're trans. And if they're passable, they don't want anybody to know. It's very, very rarely that you meet a trans person that is very, hey, guess what? I was born a man. I know a couple. Actually, I know several. But most of them are very like, oh my God, don't you dare call me a tranny. Don't you dare call me. And they're so embarrassed and ashamed of who and what they are. Now in college, I know this is completely not the same, but in college, I remember there was this girl, her name was Benji, like the dog, but she was a beautiful black girl. Benji had the widest teeth I'd ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh my God, Benji, what's your secret? Toothpaste? Mama, that's not your secret. She clearly had them bleached, but she wouldn't tell me the dentist. She wouldn't tell me where. She wouldn't, at least at the beginning. And then after 4 years of us being friends, she told me her dentist and whatever, but I couldn't afford it because he was outrageously expensive. But if you're going to get a nose job, if you're going to get your teeth done, if you're going to get your lips done, why are you going to deny it? I know so many people that do that. Oh, I'm naturally blessed. I truly do have naturally straight teeth. I mean, on the top. The bottom, I used to tell the dentist I needed braces. He wouldn't give them to me because I guess they line up. But on the bottom, they're not straight. And I wanted braces, but he would never give me braces. I also want them bleached. And one of the dentists I went to see would not bleach them because he said they were white enough. But I want them TV white. Because I'm a freak. But my point is, if I'm going to get my lips done, which I have had done, or if I'm going to get Botox, why am I going to deny it and be like, no, I'm naturally this expressionless? It doesn't make any sense. Why deny? You invested in your looks. You invested in your body. Be like, hey, yeah, these are... Well, I'm actually not wearing boobs right now because I'm really tired. But yeah, I paid for these 32 double D's over the muscle, through the nipple, gorgeous tits or whatever. Why? Oh, no, these are natural. Well, bitch, they weren't natural 3 years ago when you had no tits. You know, like, it doesn't make sense to me. If you're going to deny all that hard work and energy, it just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, I guess I'm on a tangent. But my point is, if the trans community were to stand back and be like, you know what? I am very proud of who I am. I'm very proud of what I am. For example, we have watched I have watched, I'm sure that several of you have watched on YouTube, and there's documentaries. And if there weren't women proud enough to stand up and say, look, I was born a man, and this is the journey I went through, and this is the struggle I went through, and this is the fact that I did to my wife and my children, and you know what? Together we're still a family, and they still love me. If there weren't people that were willing to stand up and say, look, it wasn't easy, it would be even harder for so many people. So doesn't it make sense that if you stood up together as a community, as a trans community, and we were like, look, we are trans people. My point is, the word tranny is not a bad word. Like the gay community, like the black community, it's not a bad word. Yeah, the black community got pissed. Nobody could call us black. But then in the reality set in, they're like, well, what else are they going to call us? We don't want to be called brown people. We don't want to be called colored people. We don't want to be called... I don't even know the other words that they were using because I wasn't really born in that era. Alright, so let me read you this quote. I can't remember her name, but she comments on a lot of my videos. She goes, alright, Misty Eyez, here is the deal on tranny. The reason trans women hate the word tranny is because of the attachment it has to porn. For years, the adult film industry has used the word tranny along with the word shemale to describe anyone who was born physically male and now through hormones or surgery look female, but still has a penis. The straight community of trans porn fans has basically abused the word tranny as a catch-all term for anyone born with a penis who presents themselves as female. But the person, a crossdresser, a drag queen, a trans woman, or something else. So, for a lot of trans women, the word has become an insult. But if the trans community were to take back the word tranny and give it a positive meaning, a more accurate meaning, it could be the word gay for the trans community. Remember, before Stonewall, if someone called you gay, it was an insult, just like fag or dyke or sissy or queer. Now, many of those same words have been taken back by the gay community and turned into positive words instead of negative ones. Yeah, I'm part of the queers definitely turned into a positive word. And I know that I don't know if dyke is I don't know if dyke is actually a negative or a positive word for the lesbian community. I don't really hang out with them that often, but I know there's dykes on bikes, so they obviously have taken that word back in a sense. I hope this helps you understand the whole tranny flap thing. Now, I must get back to working on my trans documentary, The Woman in the Mirror. XOXO Misty. Oh, maybe her name's Misty. Or maybe she's saying Misty to me. But like she said, and I totally 100% agree with her, it was like a light switch went off into my head. Oh, it makes sense. Because I couldn't understand why trans people would not like that word at all. It's like, don't call me white. Well, because I'm not white. I'm part... whatever. I'm such a Heinz 57, I don't even know what the hell I am anymore. But... you know, instead of just being angry for no reason... I just thought that so many of the trans community were being so negative for no reason. I didn't even think, oh yeah. But you know what's a double-edged sword? Because I know lots of the trans people that don't want to be called trans people. They don't want anyone to know they're trannies because they're real women. But when they're looking for a client or an escort but if they're an escort and they're looking for clients, what do they put in their catchphrase or keywords? Tranny and Shemale. So if you don't want to be called that, why are you calling yourself that? Oh, it's so you can make money. Okay. I guess at the end of the day, the point of my story is, I don't think RuPaul should stop using it. I don't think that talking about the color blue is going to hurt that color blue in any way. Talking about the color blue is going to help people be aware, yes, blue exists. Maybe you had no idea that blue exists. Maybe there's a lady at your church or your job or school that is blue and you had no idea. Maybe she doesn't want you to know, and that's fine. That's her business. It's none of, whatever she wants is her business. But if those blue people were to stand up and be like, look everyone, I'm blue, and I've been friends with you, I've been a preacher at your church, or I've been a secretary at your job, or I've been your dentist, or your whatever, all along, it would take the taboo out of it. Just much like the gay community. Like, why do you hate gay people? Because you're friends with a lot of gay people. You just didn't know they were gay. And that's okay. So until trans people come out of the shadows and take back the word tranny and they fight for their rights and be like, look, we're trans, we're cool, deal with it. Because hiding in the shadows is giving the transphobic people fuel. Because if they're going to fight against trans people, for whatever reason, it's a freak or it's a whatever, then, and they're going to continue to hide or, oh, no, yeah, I'm trans, whatever, and go back into their shadows and never come out in the daylight, then it's giving them the right, or not the right, but it's giving them ammunition. It's giving them strength. They're going to be like, oh yeah, well that bitch ran and hid, so next time I see another trans person, I'm going to make fun of her too. Well, you know what? That's not okay. And if people, like for example, if I'm on my way to work or coming out of work, or even if I'm not in drag, a lot of people, these don't come off. I'm very androgynous during the day. And I'm very androgynous during the day. People call me lady sometimes when I'm not dressed up. And if people are to make fun of me or call me whatever, I'm going to stand up to them. Because I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of what I've become. I'm not ashamed of the decisions I've made for my life. And I think that it's a negative thing that a lot of people have chosen to be who they are, what they are, but they're so afraid to be proud of what they are. And that is wrong. Trans people are allowed to be proud that they're trans. That they are trannies. Whether they're transgender or transsexual, they can be trannies and be proud. It doesn't make sense to me that they're hiding. And I know in the bottom of my heart, in the bottom of my soul, that these trans people that are so adamant and so vocal about not allowing people to use the word tranny or shemale or whatever, they prefer there not to be a word because they don't want to exist. Meaning, the second they become fully passable and they can, like, I was watching Fantasia when Mimi Marks went to the White Sox game. And she had not a stitch of makeup on, just her hair in a ponytail, went to the game, and people thought she was a woman. Like, she was completely passable. And I remember her thinking that was an accomplishment for her. Like, it was like a victory day. Oh my gosh, I don't have to put on makeup to be pretty. I don't have to put on makeup to convince people. I don't have to put on makeup to trick people. That all the hard work and hormones and cosmetic surgeries that she's done to augment and change her body had been working. I get it. But I think that those same trans people, the second they reach that level, they're going to deny that they're trans. Or once they're post-operative, and I do think that once you're post-operative, you're no longer, well, you'll always be a transsexual, but they're going to be like, no, I'm a woman. I have a vagina. You know, like, they're going to be so, basically, what I'm saying, okay, this is what I'm now thinking in my brain. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Unfortunately, there are homophobic homosexuals like Andrew Cunanan. Andrew Cunanan was gay. He had gay tendencies. He had sex with Ben, but he was ashamed of who he was. And he was a homophobic homosexual. And after he would have sex with men like Gianni Versace, he would kill them because he was so guilt-ridden that they knew his secret and he would end their life. Now, I'm not saying it's to that extent, but I think that this fear of the word tranny is driven by transphobic transsexuals. They are transgendered people, they are transsexuals, but they're still transphobic. They don't want to be transgender. They want to be real women. They're not proud of who they are. They're not proud of what they are. And they want society to look at them as if they're completely 100% normal, which again, I don't think is a goal that we should be striving for as a human race, unless you belong to the Stepford Wives community or the church. I know that the church wants everyone to be the same. We all act like this, we all do this, and the more you stand out in the church, the more negative you are kicked out of the church. You know, they don't like that. They don't want anyone to be different. They want everyone to be very, very much the same. And that leads to hypocrisy, because it's not possible for everyone to be, look, and act the same. It's going to lead people to pretend to be the same when they're with you, and then the second they leave your presence, they're going to let their true nature out, and that is hypocrisy. And then that's when they become bad witnesses, because, again, growing up in the church, I saw a lot of that. You know, oh, the pastor of the church is actually human, and he's not perfect. And he also does things that are not biblical. I don't know. I guess I'm very passionate about this topic because I'm truly sensitive to this topic. But at the same time, like I do in a lot of my Ask Misties, I can see both sides of the equation. I understand why the trans community is like, oh my gosh, I don't want the world to know we're here because I don't want them to be afraid of us. But at the same token, if the trans community were to be trans and proud, hey, trannies, we're here, we're trannies, get used to it, or whatever, then that would be forcing it down their throats, and at the same time being like, you know what? Trans people aren't that, trans people, and at the same time it'd be like, you know what? Trans people aren't anything to be afraid of. I might not understand it, why somebody would spend thousands of dollars to trans their body. I don't know why like for example, when I was younger, I used to pray to be straight. Why would I subject myself to all that torture and ridicule for being a homo? I didn't want that. Why would I choose that? And yet, as an adult, why would you choose to be trans? Because that's forcing yourself to undergo so much more. You know, it's like coming out of the closet twice. Now you have to undergo hormone replacement therapy and silicone injections and breast implants and whatever. You know, not to mention, what if you're 6'1" and built like a linebacker? You know, it's not an easy road. Some girls are naturally 5'8", and they can, you know, transition very easily. But to other people, it's not so easy. Alright, so I talked about a lot of shit. The bottom line is the word shemale, taken off of RuPaul's Drag Race. Again, I'm going to say it, I think I said at the beginning, RuPaul's not transphobic. I'm not transphobic. I don't think anyone that's going to put a TV show on the air where people born as a men are dressing as women would be transphobic. And again, I think the trans community needs to focus on being proud and, you know, doing maybe not gay pride or trans pride parades, but focusing on transgendered pride. Not being so secret and afraid. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be who you are. And if you were born in the wrong body, you need to fix it. And with trans people being so phobic of being trans, and other people finding out that they exist, then what about the other people that are terrified to take the first step? Think about all the mentoring that you could do as a trans person. If you were secure in your sexuality and in your skin and in your, what word is that, gender, I don't know, what word is that, in your gender choice. You know, people need people to look up to. And if you're perfectly passable and nobody knows, how are you going to help someone else? Who helped you? I know not everyone's going to do Ask Misties and try to help the world, but maybe you should help at least one person. I don't know. I think it's, again, I just think it's stupid that the trans community is attacking a show like RuPaul's Drag Race. I think I've wrapped this up many times, but look at girls like Carmen Carrera, girls like Laverne Cox, and girls now like Candace Kane. Candace Kane was also a transphobic transsexual in that she would deny out loud that she was trans. She was a real woman, if anybody asked. She was very like, ugh, how dare you call me that? You know, and for a minute turned her back on the gay community like a lot of trans people do. I think that's a normal part of your evolution, like I said in my other tranny video. And that's okay. But now she's an out transsexual actor, and I think that's awesome too. Getting work in movies and in film and in TV shows. I think that's awesome. Laverne Cox is a great spokesperson. Carmen Carrera, they're all out transgendered women being like, look, I am transgendered and I am proud. And with role models and people looking up to them, and I don't blame CNN and I don't blame the news to be like, oh, Carmen Carrera, tell us about this, because they've never really had an out person that's vocal and proud of who and what they are. They need someone to be like, oh, and putting it on the news and on the mainstream and CNN is awesome because A, she's not a monster, and B, she's normal. Well, also C, she's gorgeous, and she's a vision that they could, oh wow, it is possible for a man to become a beautiful woman. Whereas it's not that easy for a lot of the girls, especially if they started their hormone replacement therapy much later in life. And they got their man bodies and man faces. I don't know. Again, I think I'm closing it for real, for real. I don't think I think RuPaul should bring back Shemale. The reality is, she's not making fun of the trans community. And if you're gonna look for if you want to look for things that are black-phobic or homophobic or gay-phobic or transphobic or Russian-phobic or whatever, you're gonna find them even where they don't exist. You can actually twist things like a Bible. Oh, this verse says this. You can take the same verse oftentimes and say it's pro-abortion or anti-abortion, depending on whatever you feel like at that moment. And I'm just saying abortion for an example, but a lot of verses can be twisted however you want to make them. And if you're looking for transphobic things in RuPaul's Drag Race, and it's a show about men dressing as women, you're going to find them. But were they put there because RuPaul and the producers of World of Wonder and Logo were transphobic? No. And in the long run, if you don't fight against your own community, and you stand behind them and be like, you know what? Yeah, I am a Shemale. Yeah, I'm a transgender goddess. Yeah. And take pride in it. I think that could only help the movement. Like gay pride. Like black power. You can't say black, and now you can't say tranny. What are you not going to be able to say next? It doesn't make any sense to me. Tranny, 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 tranny. It's not a bad word. It's short for transgendered, and it's short for transsexual. And why is it that the trans people are all offended by this word? Because they're transphobic. Oh, it's a long, I don't even know. This video is already really long. And I'm already a day late, and I don't know if I'm gonna have time to edit this, but I'm gonna end it now. My final closing, for real, is RuPaul's not the villain. And I wish the trans community could get together and stand up and be proud of all things trans. And be like, look, trans is beautiful. Like, look at the fat girls. There's a huge BBW movement right now. BBW is beautiful. Yeah, a lot of people, the world doesn't agree, but that doesn't mean they're right. And if BBW people are proud of themselves and proud of other BBWs, that's only going to help the BBW movement and maybe help girls not be anorexic and bulimic and do things that are dangerous for them. Imagine if the trans community was all going to embrace itself and love itself. Hello, good things will happen. That was Misty Eyez. Loving you is easy.